Mackenzie Johnston with Cattle News Central, bringing you your November 8th cattle industry headlines. Brought to you by AgRisk Advisors. PRF season is here, and their advisors are educated and ready to help you mitigate weather risk. Their state-of-the-art technology and superb customer service ensures that your policy is in good hands. The PRF deadline is December 1st, quickly approaching, so if you would like more information, be sure to reach out to an advisor today. AgRisk Advisors, with you no matter what the weather. Also sponsored by Circle 5 Cow School. They host remote weekly classes all throughout the Midwest so you can learn to preg check your own cows. You can view their schedule at circle5cowschool.com. That is the number 5 in there, or you can go ahead and just give them a follow on Facebook. Last week, Yahoo News reported that Robert Blom, a Corsica, South Dakota feedlot operator, pled guilty to operating a Ponzi-like scheme in which he resold the same cattle to multiple investors. Blom was sentenced to 91 months in prison. Blom ran a custom cattle feeding operation that profited around $24 million in between 2014 and 2019. So what he did was he resold cattle he didn't have in inventory to investors, falsified invoices, and used the money to pay back old investors. A classic Ponzi scheme. The defense claimed that running a farm resulted in various mental health issues and stressors which Blom suffered from. The defense stated that Blom was suicidal when this case first opened. Additionally, they contended that Blom got his life together with rehabilitation efforts, working and staying sober, and sent in letters written on behalf of Blom's efforts. During the hearing, Blom tearfully said he was sorry and that he was a hardworking man, just trying to do the right thing. During public testimony, many of Blom's victims and former investors urged the judge to issue the maximum sentence. According to Judge Karen Schreier, the case was a simple Ponzi-like scheme in a farm environment. Judge Schreier's biggest concern in Blom's report was a past conviction in 1997 for making false statements to a federal insured bank, because what he did back in 1997 was basically the same thing that he did in current day. Blom will serve his time at a facility as close to South Dakota as possible so he can be near family and friends. Once his 91 months are up, he will be supervised. He will be on supervised release for 3 years. The total amount in restitution he owes is $24,282,865.94. Drovers has reported that last week, JBS announced that it will use Bovier, a feed additive, to reduce methane emissions in its global supply chains. The meat giant will be partnering with Royal DSM, a health and nutrition company, to become carbon neutral by 2040. Bovier consists of a molecule synthesized from 2 natural compounds that can help cut cow emissions by up to 90%. The product received regulatory approval in Brazil in September. JBS plans to give the additive to confined cattle, and then in 6 months plans to test the product in a second market, most likely in Australia or the United States. According to Gilberto Tomazzoni, JBS's global chief executive officer, climate change is a huge issue for our world, and we must act urgently to combat the negative effects of global warming. JBS is one of the most diversified global food companies in the world, said Tomazzoni. Because of this, the company has an opportunity to leverage their scale and influence to help lead a sustainable transformation of agricultural markets that empowers producers, suppliers, customers, and consumers. The Wall Street Journal reported that last Tuesday, striking workers at John Deere rejected a second and final contract offer from the company that would have given them 10% pay increases. Instead, those workers remain on strike. Deere workers went on strike on October 14th, which was the first walkout at the company since 1986. According to Mark Howes, the chief administrative officer for John Deere, the company made its best and final offer in a 6-year proposed contract. Members of the United Auto Workers Union, which are the Deere workers that are currently on strike, voted down the offer by a margin of 55% to 45%. Deere will continue operating its U.S. plants with non-union employees, said Howes, and the company is considering sourcing replacement parts and machinery from its overseas plants. Many farmers are concerned that the strike will deepen shortages of new equipment and continue to drive up prices for already scarce used equipment. The rejected contract offer, as I said, would have given 10,000 striking Deere employees an immediate pay increase of 10%, plus an $8,500 bonus for each worker and additional 5% pay raises in 2023 and 2025. This offer would cost Deere an additional $3.5 billion over the life of the contract. Employees on strike said that Deere should have provided larger raises and benefit expansions, considering the company's farm and construction equipment sales have been booming and the pay increases other employers have been offering this year to recruit employees. For the full fiscal year, Deere has projected about $5.8 billion in income for this fiscal year, compared with $2.8 billion in 2020 and $3.3 billion in 2019. Finally, Reuters reported over the weekend on Saturday, a U.S. federal appeals court issued a stay freezing the Biden administration's efforts to require workers at U.S. companies with at least 100 employees to be vaccinated against COVID or undergo weekly tests. This ruling comes after numerous Republican-led states filed legal challenges against the new rule, which is set to take effect on January 4th. These Republican governors, among others, argue the rule oversteps the administration's legal authority, and I could not agree more. That is all I have for you guys this morning. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I hope the weather was as gorgeous wherever you were at as it was here. It was beautiful. This fall has just been tremendous. It has been such great weather. Have yourself a wonderful Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow.